So much of what David does speaks into our culture and it speaks to me about how I'm meant to live. Not everything. David isn't Jesus, and so it's not that everything David does is, oh, well, that's how we're meant to live as well. So I don't think, for example, David killing the guy that gives him the message is necessarily a good idea, or whether it's God's will. I don't think it is. Either way, there are other parts where you can clearly see there's something that we should learn from here. And the one that I love is this song that David sings. We know that he was a poet, we know that he was a songsmith, he wrote half of the Psalms, and here's an example of another song that he wrote. And he sings this funeral dirge, this song about the death of Saul and Jonathan. And in it you see something of his heart. You see his heart for Jonathan, which is, Jonathan was his best friend. He knew a real friendship with Jonathan, a real intimacy with Jonathan that kept him going. So he's obviously grieving the death of Jonathan, but he's also, in a way, grieving the death of Saul. Saul, who's been trying to kill him for the last however many years. Saul, who he's had to live in fear of. Saul, who's been paranoid and thrown his spear at him time and again. Saul, who has tried to put him to death and ruined his life. David is mourning his death. And what he's doing is he's recognizing that both Saul and Jonathan, for all of Saul's faults, were mighty men in the land of Israel. They were leaders in God's kingdom. And any time that a leader in God's kingdom falls is something that is to be mourned over, whether or not we knew them or we didn't, whether we connected with them or not, whether we liked them or we had a bad experience talking to them. Anytime a Christian falls in some kind of way, it should be mourned. And too often what we do in our culture is we do the opposite. So there's a scandal that might come on TV that tells you, oh, such and such a politician's had an affair with so-and-so, or this celebrity's taken drugs, or this person's been doing this that they shouldn't have been doing, and we gorge ourselves on that. We feed on that. We are so interested, and we pretend we're not, but we really are really very nosy, and we love to savour other people's humiliations. We watch people rise, and then we enjoy watching them fall again because we think it's keeping them in their place. David doesn't have that sort of attitude. When someone who is great falls, he is there to mourn and to weep. And for us, I suppose the lesson might be, let's not rejoice over other people's failures. Let's mourn them and let's try and help them as much as we can.